We're in a content slop epidemic on this app.
I think the only way I could get into Cat's Eye is if I genuinely separated the art from the artist. I think they have a few good hits.
Cat's Eye has horrible music. It's what's become the viral opinion of the week on here ever since Internet Girl was debuted.
Are brain rot and absurdist memes just modern day Dadaism?
I think recently something weighing on my spirit is the state of media and content. More than ever, we are scrolling through Sora video after VO3 video after nauseatingly overindulgent mukbang, all paired to an AI TikTok Brazilian funk song. Even with an algorithm more advanced and more acclimated to your echo chamber than ever, it's seemingly harder than ever to wade through the muck to find completely human and intentional content. Like, we're living in a time where brain rot is king, memes mean more and more with less and less, and we're beginning to like the beat a little bit more than we like the actual song. This is all to say that the state of content must be addressed. Now, I saw this TikTok that kickstarted this train of thought, and you know what? Yeah!
I saw a TikTok that was talking a lot about how current meme culture and TikTok humor like 6'7" and like Skibbity Toilet Riz, I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth, is a form of modern day Dadaism in the sense that it's kind of like an absurd, nonsensical reaction to the chaos of the world right now. I was talking to a friend who studied art history in college, and she was saying that there are a lot of parallels, but this conclusion might be misguided, and so I decided to find out for myself. So first of all, what is Dadaism? Dadaism is an art movement that was formed in the aftermath of World War I in Zurich, and it was both anti-bourgeois, and generally associated with the radical left.
It really got me thinking, especially in that last part about the lack of intentionality and randomness in Dadaism, and how that applies to our modern meme landscape. Like, I know that TikTok explained it, but you may be asking, like, Rumi, what is Dadaism? Infamously called the anti-art art movement, Dadaism developed out of the disgust and resentment from the bloodshed and horror of World War I, which began in 1914 and ended in 1918. Dadaism's main purpose, though, was the challenge of the social norms of society, and to purposefully make art that would shock, confuse, and or outrage people. It thrived on counterattacking everything that was conventional in society, and the Dadaists, as they called themselves, considered themselves the rebels of the art world, and later inspired major movements such as surrealism and even punk rock. Yes! Come on, Beyonce! Although Dadaism originally started as a protest of the First World War, it soon after grew into its own cultural phenomenon, permeating attitudes thought to originally be taboo, offensive, or childish. Are we seeing any similarities to traditional Dadaism to where we're at today? Essentially, this art form was born as a sort of celebration of meaninglessness, or nonsense, thus Sabrina Carpenter, in response to such serious and horrific times in the world. And the motivations of this form were, of course, political. And I think that's where there is a disconnect, is that memes we're using today aren't inherently political. But dare I say, perhaps in response to the seemingly always political upheaval and turmoil we face in these never-ending, unprecedented times? Perhaps. That might be a little bit of a stretch, I know, but please stay with me. And whatever your thoughts and opinions of Dadaism may be, it feels like there is a slight parallel running in what we're seeing in terms of visual language and expression online, or in other words, memes, with many current trending memes and arguably media being absurd in nature and also just kind of meaningless. And when I say that, I know that I sound unconchopped, and I'm sorry, I hate to be unconchopped. I really hate seeing both of those things. But please look me dead in the face and tell me that 6'7" we are I wish I had a bag of chicks beefing with my chick while I'm in jail. Labubu means something to not only you, but to a random 60-year-old in the street. Like, the way I'm hearing everyone being articles, TikToks, and just people describe it is that all this is just meaningless, and that there's no reason to go further to ascribe a certain meaning to it. Right! And when it comes to 6'7" specifically, I've heard a lot of people describe it as like 21. If you remember the Vine 21. But like 21 had more of a Vine cultural context, so to speak. I know that 6'7" comes from the sporting world, but has migrated its way over to everything else. So, you know, there's that. Or hey, there's even the LA Public Library explaining it, which is an amazing reminder to use your libraries.
Hi, I have a question. My nephews keep going on about 6'7". What does that even mean?
I'm not too familiar with that topic, but from what I understand, December 2024, Philly rapper Skriller came out with the song Doot Doot, where he sings 6'7", which some speculate is a reference to the police code 1067 to investigate it, though police codes vary by agency.
Or maybe none of this is that serious because kids are kids in every generation. But that's too easy of an explanation, you know, on Emergency. We do know that it is that deep. And we're definitely going to get into that in the current content slop timeline that we're living in right now. So for all of my art history buffs, my critical thinkers, or just anyone with eyes and ears over the past year or so, sign up in the comments to your thoughts on Dadaism and let's get educational. And when we're talking about Dadaism and how it's about the meaninglessness and absurdity in the face of very serious times, could this extend into the state of entertainment today? This might be a newsflash to some of y'all, but we are living in some serious times, and it's very easy to seriously weigh on your mental health. And the state of the world is already enough. That's not even accounting for the fact that the holiday season is like right around the corner. So truly, this is the time to take care of your brain, not only for the prevention of brain rot, but more importantly, to protect your mental health in general. And that's why I'm so happy to partner with this video sponsor, Growth Therapy. Now, before you look at me crazy being like, Rumi, a therapy sponsorship? Yes, hear me out, because Growth Therapy is a therapy service designed to fit your needs. And I know firsthand that therapy can be very life-changing. I've been in therapy for the past couple of years, and it's truly helped me manage my mental health. And with Growth Therapy, they offer therapy on your time, with bookings in as little as 2 days, with appointments available on nights and weekends. And they have a roster of over 19,000 therapists, which are all licensed and vetted. And get this, are all able to be filtered by identity, gender, language, faith, and more, all specifically for your compatibility. And in my opinion, one of the best things about Growth Therapy is that they offer both virtual and in-person sessions, are subscription free, meaning you're only paying per session, and work with over 100+ insurance plans, as well as Medicaid in some states. And I know that money is one of the biggest barriers for people from starting therapy. So with Growth Therapy, sessions cost around $21 with insurance, with some even paying as little as $0 depending on their plan. Now, if you know me, then you know that therapy is not something that I play around with. So if you want to learn more about Growth Therapy, head to the link in my description or scan the QR code on screen somewhere here for a quicker way to get support and find a therapist. Thank you so much, Growth Therapy, for sponsoring this video. Let's get into talking more about the concept of quality art versus pure entertainment. Now, before we get started, I must preface this conversation with saying that I am not the ultimate purveyor of art. Okay? I am not Leonardo da Vinci, I am not Charlie XCX, I am not Anna Wintour, and I am certainly not Beyonce. Although people do say we favor. I love my reality TV, I watch shitty shows. You could see that by my channel's video history. Ooh, not sure if he's mentioned. I get hooked on algorithmic pop, like I go hard for golden and then gnarly, like it's math for a reason. Hell, I even enjoy some of the things that I critique on here. And I really think it's time we start to have a conversation about what content we find ourselves watching and truly making the distinction between fun content and good media, because I think we are conflating the two, and that is not the case. And I'm not saying that when you want to wind down, you gotta play a Boots Riley or a Jordan Peele movie, although those are all amazing watches. Like, I fully get the need for fun content to distract us from the matrix that we are all living in. Hell, there are even some of us that are caught up in all spare. But again, I do think it's important to moderate or at least switch off the type of content that we're watching. As I mentioned in many videos before, a lot of these platforms get money from our attention. It's called the attention economy for a reason, okay? So it's really important to understand the value of it. If we become okay with accepting simple slop, then they're winning because it's better and cheaper for them to put that stuff out. And I'm not saying that art and entertainment are inherently one and the same, because they're not. But oftentimes, and especially in the recent past, there used to be a pretty overlapping Venn diagram. But each day we're kind of slowly pulling further away until we get to a point where we're just looking at two separate circles. In a quote from comedian Josh Johnson, "Art can save your life, but entertainment can never be your salvation. Entertainment, by and large, is escapism, and no one has ever escaped their chains by forgetting they were there." And that is a word. And this concept as a whole will remain the biggest difference between art and entertainment. I know oftentimes when art and entertainment comes into the public lexicon for critique and ridicule, a lot of people are quick to jump to like the whole like, oh, it's not that deep, or oh, you're looking too far into it, like, and kind of condemn the critical nature of art. And I do think there is some validity to that in the modern sphere of social media that we live in. I do think that we need to be critical of things, but sometimes I think that we are hyper-critical in a non-constructive way with a lot of the ways that we hold conversation and discourse online, especially on apps like Twitter, TikTok, and if you're on YouTube, where a lot of times with this discourse, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, what's the end goal here? Like, what end result do we really want? And oftentimes there is none, it's just to chat. But on the flip side of that, there is still really a need for constructive art and entertainment critique, because that stuff is important to prevent us from just mindlessly consuming slop. And on the concept of slop, this is going to be a crazy transition, and please bear with me, okay? Hold my hand. Hold my little gay hand when I tell you this. But when we want to talk about slop, specifically in entertainment, specifically in pop music and mediocrity, we gotta start the conversation off with Cat's Eye. Now, I told you to hold my hand. Don't let it go and don't click away. And before you scroll, come here. Before you get in the comments up in arms to defend these divas or to trash these divas, just know, we love Cat's Eye in this house. You hear me? We love Cat's Eye. Okay. You can go. And I'm not just saying that. I love Cat's Eye. I love those girls. I'm trying to get tickets to their LA show. So if anyone from Team Cat's Eye or anything is watching, I know they're coming like next week, so let's make it work. But also like don't listen to this next part because I'm about to boycott. Cat's Eye, the group, are obviously very talented, hardworking, beautiful girls. And the mediocrity in question that I'm talking about when it comes to pop mediocrity and the group Cat's Eye falls with their management and label. Woo! And if this is news to anyone, I'm sorry for killing the dream, but like these girls don't really write their own songs. So I'm truly not going after them in any way. They are perfect. And as I'm going to argue, are the reason that Cat's Eye is what it is right now. Like if it was any different group of girls that were of lower caliber, lower tier, with what they have been given, they would not be as big or have the potential to be any bigger than they are right now. The girls themselves are carrying this group. And I'm not being critical of them. I am, however, being critical of the writers' room. Because we're the writers in the room with us. Like we have to admit the standard for their lyricism, especially in these recent songs, has been dismal. Like Gnarly, while I love that song, it's so campy and catchy and fun, and the dance was tea, can we say in all earnestness that the song itself was good?
Cat's Eye's music isn't good. In fact, I think it's the only thing that isn't good about them. I think it's the only thing that's really holding them back. I know they had a big year anyway, but imagine how big their year could have been if they had more than 2.5 listenable songs and their lyrics didn't sound like they were written by the Glee cast.
Because again, this is not a straight to the girls themselves. Like you have a vocalist like Laura, who has an amazing range and amazing voice. Talk about some gang, 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 gang. Like what?
Gang, 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 gang.
Out here hollering in the studio on some woo! Like I think when it comes to lyrics, specifically with Cat's Eye, I think the writers just be putting song titles in a random word generator and let that shit haywire because nothing is ever really being said. Like at this point, what's the point of genius? Like, actually, I might have to reject that because looking at Gnarly's Genius page and looking at people grasping at straws to find deeper meaning in the song, like please, some of the buzzwords include satirical, consumerism, mocking the music industry. And I really hate to be that person, but like, I really don't think they were doing all that and was the intention. And you can definitely tell that's the case when the Cat's Eye girls were asked to define what the song means to them. Them girls ain't know either. But again, I like the beat. I still be going hard to Gnarly. But to me, this all shows that at least on some level, people crave some kind of deeper meaning because they're searching for it. And at the very least are looking for meaning to justify their likes and dislikes. Like when it comes to Gnarly specifically, why did everyone I know have to brainwash themselves into liking it? Like I feel like this is how everyone who's ever introduced Gnarly to someone else is how they had to plead their case.
You're not gonna get the song the first time you hear it. After the second and third time, you're gonna be like, whoa, what is this?
Like even outside of Gnarly, I feel like this happens more often than ever for like artists and entertainment across the board. And in that sense, I feel like I've kind of done it to myself. Like maybe all of my niche interests shouldn't be a giant hear me out, but here we are. But getting back to Cat's Eye, I hate to say it, but like Gnarly is only one of many such cases, especially recently, because Cat's Eye has been getting a lot of discourse online over their newest song, Internet Girl. They've been debuting on tour. And one of the main lines or standout lines in the song is eat zucchini. Eat zucchini. With like the Genius lyric breakdown being like, they obviously mean it like the eggplant emoji innuendo because it's like vegetable neighbor. Like, did you warm up this morning? Because that logic is a stretch. Like I get it could still mean that and likely does mean that because of its phallic nature, but like vegetable neighbor?
So now that we've heard Internet Girl, eat zucchini, and it's now popular opinion that Cat's Eye's writing and music has a problem, I just want to say I told you so. I remember when I released my original video on Cat's Eye, like back when I first started this stuff, and I got dragged, called an anti, called everything, pig, loser, stupid. I was dragged because I said that I don't think they'll be able to outlast the like constant trending of the music industry if they don't put out meaningful music, and that their current music is very, very like bad. It's poorly written. The production sometimes is even not that great.
Then there's the whole lyric slop allegations with their song Tonight I Might. Like just listening to Daniela's verse in this is just very jarring because this really gives a sister sentence to what would you do if when you okay so he said yes would go.
What would you do if when you okay so he said yes would go?
Like let's do a little lyric breakdown right now. And again, no hate to Daniela, love her. But it goes, I know everyone around me doesn't move the same way, but it's kind of fun to be somebody different on the same day. And here we go. I'm not the perfect example of someone ready to handle the kind of party required to go fully inspired, but what is that? What does that mean? What are we talking about? And again, I have to reinforce, this is not some weird vendetta against Cat's Eye. I know they're absolute stars. I love them all, but what is this writing? One experimental song is fair, like just trying stuff out. But at this point, this is just a pattern. And again, when asked about these confusing at best lyrics, the writers have answered that like, they mean whatever you want them to mean. What the hell I mean? Like y'all don't want to hear it, but even the Swifties turned on Miss Swift this album season, claiming that that album doesn't hit like the others and that the lyricism definitely is not what it used to be. Like this obviously doesn't just apply to Taylor, but I think that artists and their teams are beginning to realize whether they make the effort to put out something good or not, fans will still accept the slop en masse and will engage, will stream, and will buy.
Whenever Swifties say that they just need to listen to the album like 3 or 4 times and then they'll start to like that's not liking an album, baby, that's Stockholm Syndrome. The first time I listened to Red, the first time I listened to 1989, I loved it. I didn't have to listen to it multiple times to love it. It was good, so I loved it. My first listen through of Fine Line by Harry Styles was transformative. I loved it immediately. My first listen to of Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter was phenomenal on the first listen. I understand some songs just take longer for you to understand the true meaning, but it doesn't take 2 or 3 listens of a song for you to like it. Like, you know if you like a song, honestly on your first listen, like you guys sound like victims. This is Stockholm Syndrome. This is not, it's not a good album. Can we just, it's okay to not like a Taylor Swift album. It's okay.
Like from here on out, if your fave not making sense anymore, just say that they're exhibiting Dadaist qualities. Now is a little interlude and another addition to the content slot pipeline that we have been on as of late. We gotta quickly talk about All Spare. I'm sorry. Like content slop does not just exist in the music industry. This is truly happening across entertainment. And the decline of TV and film has been noted for a while now. Of course, this isn't to say that movies and shows right now are all bad. It just seems that more of the bad, even if it's fun to watch media, is being proliferated, or at least being shoved down our throats. And thus we mention All Spare, a show that is just so bad that you can't look away. And this isn't just me saying this. Like top critics gave it a 0%. And yes, all critics gave it a total of 3%. But are we really fighting for that rating? Like, is it really worth it? If you haven't seen this show, the best way I can describe it is if it was like a TikTok vertical that got like scaled back to regular TV. Literally in the opening before the time card, it has a 10-year time jump within like 1 minute. And like, speaking of jump, tactless, I know. Kind of just like how they treated the self-unaliving scene. It's just crazy how like someone jumps off a building and they like never mention it again. Like they might have just like grazed past it in like a throwaway line, but for the rest of the show, they kind of spend more time showing interiors than they did covering something as traumatizing as witnessing a shoe from their office building. Like it just feels very disconnected and desensitized to most of the heavy topics at hand. Like a throwaway line about how Sarah Paulson's character used to be a like so far, at least they haven't addressed it again. Like it really seems like they're taking a book out of 13 Reasons Why. And the fact that they're just trying to overwhelm and like trauma dump to try and grasp our little iPad baby attention spans with fast cuts, even quicker storylines, no character exploration or character development, insensitive and desensitized trauma-written plot points, crazy outfits, Kim Kardashian seemingly always wet, slick back hair, and the bougie interiors and cars. Did I mention that Kim Kardashian's in it? Again, this isn't to blame you off you're watching it, because I'm about to go play the latest episode. I will be tuning in. But the question is, in a few months, are we going to remember the show? Does it have rewatch value outside of maybe the memes that spawn from it? Artistic value? It seems more and more, especially streaming platform original shows, feel this way. And it's really disappointing to see what's getting greenlit and what money is being poured into, especially considering their insane amount of executive producers. Like we know with this show specifically, it's like a vanity project, but it got so much marketing and press. Whew. Like I've said this before, but as a public, our power is in our dollar and in our attention. And if we, including me, give our attention to slop content, then slop content is what we're going to get. Now the question is this all prepping our brains for an AI slop future? You know I had to slip in the AI critique, I'm sorry. But like we do need to talk about the hidden AI slop that has been infiltrating our social media. Like I don't know why this isn't bigger news and why more people aren't catching on to the fact that it's infiltrated all aspects of our entertainment. But according to a Futurism article, over 50% of rated articles on the internet are AI generated, which is an insane number already. But even more insane is that there is yet to be a number on how many videos, images, or just content in general is AI. And I've been noticing more and more content slop on social media, more than ever actually, which is really hard to believe considering that Facebook has been on that wave forever. There seems to be this proliferation of videos across social media, but mostly on TikTok that I've been seeing this, from seemingly bot accounts that rip an original video from a human creator and post it on their page with either a seemingly AI person reacting to it, or have the original creator's video overlaid by an obviously AI video in the background. And the purpose of this is I actually genuinely have no clue. But it does seem that some of these videos have been getting high engagement, or at least high views, which is taking away money and revenue from creators who posted the original video, and scamming viewers into engaging with AI content without really knowing that it's AI content. But I'm seeing this more and more, no matter how many times I'm clicking not interested in this content, I am still getting the occasional AI video or Sora watermark. And what is indefinitely more sneaky are the AI audios. Like there was that one Brazilian funk song that turned out to be an AI generated remix of like a very real song from the 80s. And like the YouTube video alone has amassed over 5.7 million views in 4 months. So I truly can't imagine how many streams it has, including all platforms. And like just thinking out loud here, like does the original artist get sample rights or like royalties? Like is there legislation against this yet or no? And TikTok is not the only one sneaking TikTok audios in without disclosing that they're AI generated. There's even AI music being put into playlists and radios on platforms like Spotify. Like we first heard about this on Bingetopia's episode around streaming services. I think the episode's called Regime of Convenience, which I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't already. But my researcher noted that she actually experienced this firsthand recently, saying that she was playing her usual autumnal vintage jazz and heard a song that felt soulless, spiritual, if you will. And she went to the artist's profile, and as she suspected, it was an AI band. Like people have been saying online that Spotify is being flooded with like music made by nobody. Like usually just instrumentals that are mixed in like chill, peaceful mix playlists. Like the typical background music that no one's paying attention to. But like that must feel so jarring to experience. Like a betrayal almost, because like there is no content disclaimer or even mention of AI on the page. You just kind of have to use discernment because these platforms are not doing it for you, unfortunately. In a statement by a Spotify representative to NPR, in response to questions about whether Spotify has considered implementing a detection or labeling system to music created with AI, as well as what challenges might arise from doing that, a Spotify spokesperson did not confirm or deny the possibility. Spotify doesn't police the tools artists use in their creative process. We believe artists and producers should be in control. With the spokesperson going further to say in a written statement, our platform policies focus on how music is presented to listeners, and we actively work to protect against deception, impersonation, and spam. Content that misleads listeners, infringes on artists' rights, or abuses the platform will be penalized or taken down. And I honestly think the toughest part of a lot of this whole conversation of AI is that it feels like a constant battle. But on the flip side, almost an inevitability because companies keep sneaking AI into almost every experience online without your consent. Like you really can't search anything natively on Google without Gemini answering at the top. You can't go to Popeyes without occasionally having to talk to an AI assistant to take your order. And now, you can't listen to a playlist without getting random AI generated music. And you can't watch a YouTube video now without having an AI describe it to you. Like it feels like companies and corporations are trying to trick us into consuming as much AI as possible undetected. So it manufactures this consent to it when they push things further later on. And obviously this is all easier said than done to like just not use any of these things. But if any of y'all got any better AI-free alternatives to any of these platforms or services, please drop them down below. And of course, we're not done with AI music slop. The most egregious here being the debut of certain AI musicians. Yes, you heard that right, AI musicians. There's actually a very popular one. I don't know if you know her or not, and I don't know if I'm saying its name right. Zania Monet, the R&B artist that was taking the R&B charts by storm, as well as Timbaland's AI music company. Crazy words you never thought would be together. And I think when it comes to Timbaland, it's just crazy that the man who crafted the music of a lifetime doesn't really care to put in the time, effort, and resources, which he definitely has, into new, exciting, young, real artists, but would rather put that energy into AI musicians. Right. Like, what are we doing here? Like, wasn't AI supposed to be doing the boring stuff? Like, obviously, for many reasons, the possible future of an AI entertainment can seem very grim and bleak, and could be its own separate video, but we're trying to do Love and Light for the holiday season, so I guess we'll move forward. But with all that said, maybe asking like, okay, Rumi, you're saying all of these different examples of like arguable slop. Why does it matter? And honestly, that's the question. Like, it only matters if you make it matter. Like, word to Wendy Williams. Like, do we care? Clap if you care if it's AI generated. Right.
Clap if you care. All right, let's move on.
Did you clap? I hope you clapped. Because I'm scared that a lot of people in this world would not be clapping. My point here with all this is that us lowering our standards for content and media in general, with and for this propensity for fun and seemingly nonsensical content, can actually be harmful. I fear that companies are always testing the limits to see what we find acceptable, what they can get away with, and that's slowly leading us down the path that smooths our brains out to the point where we're just okay with consuming AI slop. Because the second we become okay with it and accept it is the same second that these companies will accept that and do even more. Like if it generates the same engagement, attention, and money, why would these companies pour money into something worthwhile when they can just feed us AI slop like pigs in the trough for pennies on the dollar? It's a lot less money, brainpower, and manpower, aka jobs, for them. Like, I don't know how else to say it without sounding conspiratorial, but like, they want us dumb. And like, of course, if you don't believe me and you don't care at that point, I have to include the MIT study that made headlines not too long ago about the impacts of AI, more specifically ChatGPT, on our brains. To get a little analytical, the study divided 54 subjects ranging from ages 18 to 39-year-olds from the Boston area into 3 groups, and they asked them to write several SAT essays using OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google search engine, and nothing at all, respectively. Researchers used an EEG to record the writer's brain activity across 32 regions and found that of the 3 groups, ChatGPT users had the lowest brain engagement and consistently underperformed at neural, linguistic, and behavioral levels over the course of several months. ChatGPT users got lazier with each subsequent essay, often resorting to copy and paste by the end of the study. And while there aren't studies yet about how specifically AI content can impact our brains, it's coming. Although I do think that there's a study specifically on how brain rot affects the brain. And shocker, it does exactly what the name suggests. But given the increased use of AI and how it functions to smoothen out our brains, so to speak, we get lazier and lazier with our critical thinking and personal decision-making skills. And of course, why does this matter? This is better for the larger companies if we care less and less about the quality of content that we consume. Now you're gonna be asking, Rumi, that's cool. How do we spot AI content then if we want to avoid this content or at least know that it's happening? Well, AI has come a long way from the Will Smith spaghetti incident, and AI keeps progressing at an exponential rate, meaning that it's going to become even harder and harder to spot the differences. Also meaning that it's going to be even harder to make the conscious effort to either avoid or detect said content. But in the meantime, we at least got to try to keep our detection skills sharp. And there are actually whole content creators who educate their audience on how to spot the ever-evolving and insanely realistic AI content out right now. And one creator who makes consistent content about this is the creator Jeremy Carrasco. And he has tons of videos that give updated tips on how to spot AI and debunking current videos. And he also has this other great video about how to frame the current reality of AI slop.
Can you even spend time online without losing your grip on reality? A lot of our time is spent on the For You page. It's not great because we can't scrutinize everything for AI. It's exhausting. So to help us out, let's divide our content by trust. The For You feed or Shorts feed is where the biggest change needs to happen. Here, assume that nothing is real anymore. If you find something you really like, you should follow the page, and you need to decide if you can trust them. Figure out if they are an engager or a creator. For example, meme or ragebait or slop accounts, basically anyone who's just playing the algorithm to get influence or money, those are the accounts that I call engagers. They aren't just AI creators, by the way, but they are more likely to use it. Creators, like artists or musicians, teachers, and a lot of influencers rely on authenticity for engagement, so they're a bit less likely to use AI, or at least they should be honest about it. So vet creators. I vet them all the time. That's my thing. And when I do it, I don't just look at one photo or one tweet or a single video because AI can get lucky. So you need to vet at least a few posts throughout their history to decide if you can trust them. And then there are news outlets or anywhere that's providing you critical information. Here you need a ton of trust, so only follow outlets that publicly verify their sources.
So yeah, the state of content right now is absolute madness. While the concept of Dadaism serves as a good reference to have when it comes to things like memes and art and where we're at right now, I wouldn't say that the seemingly meaningless content or media that we're getting fits that definition entirely. I think we're honestly getting content that just generally lacks integrity or quality because the people at the top, the powers that be if you will, know inherently by our behaviors thus far that we're kind of down to accept anything. And we as consumers have to be aware of the standard that we're setting when it comes to consuming mediocre at best content. Even if it is fun, and again, this isn't me saying that we have to kill fun, like we have to stop having fun and stop engaging with meaningless stuff just for the plot or just because it's fun. No, we still can and should do that, especially in these times. I'm saying that we have to make a better distinction at what is fun and what is slop, because they're not sisters, they're cousins. Because at the end of the day, the more we're willing to accept, the more companies and productions will just feed us more and more slop. And we know they aren't above cheaping out and giving us that real low quality AI slop. Like we really just gotta get better at distinguishing what's good content, bad content, or what's just meant for entertainment purposes. Thanks for watching, and thanks again to Grow Therapy for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check them out through the link in the description. Peace.
Hey guys, what's up? It's imuRgency and welcome back to my channel. Episode 3 of Euphoria. It came, it saw, it conquered, it did its thing. And this week's episode was really just like unapologetically messy and then also kind of traumatic and sad. And we need to sit down, unpack, and break this episode down because there is just so much to unpack, like every episode, but this episode I feel like there's just something a little bit more. There's a lot That's a lot more, actually. So let's get into it. If you have not already, definitely hit that subscribe button because we break down episodes of Euphoria every single week and you do not want to miss it. As you may know, we are on the road to 100K and we are almost there, so definitely subscribe. Also, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to leave a like because that helps out a whole bunch, and follow me on my socials at imuRgency to keep up with me. But let's talk about Euphoria episode 3. So I feel like this episode had a lot of characters hitting rock bottom, or at least somewhere near that. In a sense where like everyone's kind of down bad. Everyone's kind of down bad. Some people are down worse than others. Cassie, Rue. But yeah, overall, not a great episode for characters' mental health, I have to say. Starting off with the elephant in the room, Rue this episode was just a whole mess. She spent this entire episode lying to everyone around her. First, she's lying to her sister about the substances that she's using, and there's this whole scene that's so dramatic but also so real where her and her sister get into this fight, and we get to see a really dark side to Rue. She explains to us, and we basically see her manipulate her sister into feeling bad for her by threatening some very problematic things in terms of her mental health and weaponizing mental illness and her substance abuse issues against her own sister. And this was dark. Like, I'm starting to understand what Zendaya was talking about when she's saying that this season was going to be a little bit more mature, because wow, that's real. That's real. Like, that is really real. And I feel so bad for Rue's sister Gia because of the mental turmoil and mental duress that Rue puts on her without really even caring. Like, I feel like Gia's mental health is something that we really need to get into, and something that like is constantly overlooked, because Gia genuinely cares for her sister, and it's really hard to do that when her sister doesn't seem to really care about herself. Like, that whole scene, with the exception of like the whole like screaming match they did, that did have me laugh just a little bit, but like that whole scene was so like deep and impactful, and like at the end of it I was like, wow, this happened. We're going here. We're really going here. But also kind of pivoting, those of y'all that have been speculating in my pre-show hangouts, which I recommend you watch every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I go live on here to like talk about like the last episode and like the current episode, whatever. You should hang out. And in my TikTok comments, like a lot of y'all were prophesizing that Rue is going to be in her drug dealer era. Yeah, we're onto something, because why did that happen? Why is she now becoming a drug dealer? Like, she really got herself in deep for some money. Actually, I'm not sure if I said that myself too in like the first episode predictions. Did I? Oh. She runs out of substances and goes off to the drug dealer mob boss that we saw in episode 1 that was dealing with Fez, and basically creates a business partnership with her where she gets lended a large sum of money to then like peddle those drugs around her school. And this is really dangerous. It's looking very bad for her because she's now caught up in this lifestyle. Like, she's trapped now. She's set herself up for failure in the sense, like, she is now in this lifestyle and she can't necessarily leave. She can't back out because, like Miss Mob Boss said, if she backs out, then she's cut. Like, that's the end of Rue. And I really want to know what Fez thinks about this when he finds out, because I know that Fez has been trying to keep Rue away from this lifestyle. Of course, he's been like incorporating her a little bit, but he has never really wanted this for her. And business wise, I think this might be a little bit of competition for Fez, because don't they do like a similar thing? Like, aren't they both working for her? I'm interested to see like how this develops and if this develops. But that leads to Rue's next scene, which, like, if anything in this episode was a low, like if the stuff that we saw before wasn't enough, like this was a new low, and that was the stuff with Ali. She goes to her meeting with the suitcase full of substances and money and gets into this fight with Ali, and she's clearly not sober at this moment. She's like fighting with him. She's getting really disrespectful with him, and Ali is like warning her, like, please, like, I am here for you, like, you do not talk to me this way. Like, if you say one more thing, like, I'm done, I'm out your life. And she weaponizes his own trauma against him and then blatantly disrespects him. For what? Like, Ali is the one person in her corner consistently that knows the truth about her and supports her still. Everyone else in her life that knows the truth about her, what she's been doing, has not had her best interests at heart or just pushes her away. Like, Ali is the first person in her life to actually embrace her and still want the best for her. And she's just pushed that figure out of her life. She's really just pushed that figure out of her life. And that's sad. That's really sad, and that's really scary, because what is going to happen now? What is going to happen now? Like, if she doesn't have him as a sponsor, like a pillar, like where does she go from here? And I'm really nervous but also excited to see like how her character develops. I heard some whispers and rumors around that some future episodes have her hitting rock bottom, but I'm excited to say the least. Pivoting on, let's talk about the love triangle that I predicted was going to happen, but not in this way, because this love triangle between Rue, Jules, and Elliot is just strange. We finally get to see them all come together and have a conversation. However, Elliot Elliot is far more messy than I initially anticipated. He was far more messy than I anticipated because I thought he just had a thing for Rue. Right. But it turns out that maybe he's not looking for anything specifically. Like, he is just trying to get in their relationship and be there as a disruptor to their relationship. Like, he does not care whoops he gets with. He's just trying to get with one of them. Because he admits this episode that he actually does have a crush on Rue, but also calls Jules and basically flirts with Jules when Rue's not around. So I'm like, what's your deal? What's your deal? If you're not trying to ruin their relationship, at the very least, you're there to point out the holes in it. And I am not here to defend Rue and Jules' relationship because I personally do not like it. Like, they actually like don't have chemistry or that much in common besides being friends. Like, I feel like they'd be better off as friends than as a couple. And you can really see this because this episode is like one of the first times we actually see like Rue and Jules be intimate. And it only really happens after Elliot points out that they have not really been intimate before. So Elliot, in some kind of way, was sort of like the catalyst for them to actually start being physical with each other, which feels a little weird. So I really do not know where this is going. I do think based on how the episode ended that maybe there's going to be a Jules and Elliot little fling-a-ding, just because I feel like personally they have more chemistry than Rue and Jules or Rue and Elliot ever would. Plus, I found it really funny. I found it hilarious the way that Elliot would just speak to them and Elliot would be like, what Elliot say about Jules?
And, you know, even though you've been by the entire galaxy, you're still you're great, okay?
Yeah, like that was just like a whole lot. Now let's get over to Lexi because I feel like Lexi is starting something. Like, she's cooking up something devious. Lexi decides to start a play, except it's not just any play, you see. It is a play that's based on all the lives of the people around her. So it's a very much meta. It's a play in a show talking about the show, basically exposing all these characters for who they are. And I think this is really messy because I feel like Lexi is going to expose everybody because she sees everything. She's an observer. She peeps a lot but doesn't say a lot. I feel like she's not only going to expose the Nate and Cassie drama, but also incorporate Maddie into it, while also exposing the fact that Rue is no longer sober. Maybe just as like a treat, might flirt with Fez, like drop a hint like, Fez, hey. But I feel like it's going to be catastrophic when that play actually launches, simply because of the fact that no one knows it's coming. Like, no one's really paying attention. They're all too wrapped up in their own stuff that like they are all gonna be blindsided. It's going to be messy and I can't wait. Now let's talk about this episode's clown, Cassie. Cassie. The Cassie Hive is in shambles this week because Cassie looked dumb this episode. She looked dumb this episode. Not physically, because like the outfits that she'd wear and just like the beat that she'd do every single day was giving. However, the fact that she would wake up at 4 a.m. every single day to get dressed and really put herself together for Nate every single day to ignore her, except for the one time that she dressed up like Maddie and got like a sliver of attention, like that is bad. Like, you were down bad. Down awful even. But it really just shows the lengths that she's willing to go to be loved, which is terrifying because she's literally accepting bare minimum. Actually, I'd go even farther, like less than the bare minimum, like bottom of the barrel scraps, you know? And that whole scene where like Nate and her are hooking up and she's like, I like that I'm your little secret that I can never tell a soul. Like, girl, shut up. Like, girl, please get some therapy, get some help, because you should not be looking for that. Like, you should not be proud of that. Like, aspire for higher, Bessie, please. Please, you should not be this excited to be a side piece, respectfully. Like, you deserve so much better than Nate Jacobs, your best friend's abuser. Like, wow. I really can't with Cassie. I really cannot with Cassie. But Cassie's side, now I want to kind of talk about one of the highlights of this episode, really. And that was the scene with Fez and Ashtray and Cal Jacobs. Okay. So basically, Cal Jacobs, he gets a whole backstory this episode. Like, he starts off the episode getting his whole like, so this is Cal Jacobs, and we basically find out what we already knew before, that he was into one of his high school friends, basically gets caught up with who becomes Nate's mom, gets trapped in the relationship because they end up having a baby, gets in a marriage, and is just overall feeling trapped, whatever. That brings us to today, where Cal has that similar feeling of being trapped because he knows his tape is hanging over his head and he can't really do anything about it because his life is gonna be over. And there's a scene in this episode where he actually shows like what would happen. Worst case scenario if he got found out. So he still feels trapped, very much trapped. He's a trapped being. He goes over to Fez's place because we find out that Nate, might be a lie, might be the truth, we don't really know. Nate snitched on Fez and said that Fez has the tapes. And I think Nate is really sneaky for this because I think based on how this episode ends, he sent his father on a wild goose chase just because he knew how Fez would react. And he gets kidnapped. He basically gets kidnapped and then gets held at gunpoint by none other than Ashtray. And might I say, Ashtray is unhinged. Unhinged. Top scene this episode. I just love how each brother gets to handle a Jacob. Like episode 1, Fez handles Nate. Episode 3, Ashtray handles this grown ass man, Cal Jacobs. Like whenever Cal would threaten him or even just look in his direction, like look at him funny, Ashtray would be there with the back of the gun being like, bow! Like, Ashtray! Like it got to a point where even Fez was like, damn Ash, like chill out. And like, you know, if Fez, the guy who was just beating a boy over the head with a Tito's bottle and knocking another guy out, not 2 episodes ago, is telling you to chill out. Like if you know he's telling you to chill out, maybe you're going a little bit too far. Maybe Ashtray's a little bit too unhinged. Like he's a little bit too grown to be a 12-year-old. But I loved every single scene of it. And like, again, Faye in the background, her commentary just, I love it. I really just love the 3 of them together. The real gold of the scene is that Cal actually admits to hooking up with Jules to the group, and the information is leaked, and in turn Cal now knows that Nate also was in love with Jules. And why I think this is so important, my little theories right now, I think this now creates a sense of mutually assured destruction, because before Nate had the upper hand because he had information on his dad, but his dad had no power to really refute anything. Now there's more of a reason for them to work on the same side, because I really don't think that Nate wants the rest of the world or even his dad knowing that him and Jules are hooking up with the same person, or that he loves Jules. So now I feel like Cal can sort of use that information to make sure that those tapes don't get leaked. Picture this, Nate leaks the tapes. So what? His dad goes under. In his final words before he gets locked up and sent to prison, he outs Nate for also being with Jules. Now Nate's whole sexuality is out to the public because now Jules has no reason to hide her information and can finally say like, oh yeah, he has like on his phone, and Maddie can come out being like, yeah, that boy has on his phone. So now there's like a sense of mutually assured destruction. Like neither of them can really say anything, and sort of puts them on the same team in a sense, which is why the ending is so important to me, where Nate Jacobs stands up Cassie, which I mean, Cassie, come on now, maybe this would be a wake-up call, but he goes to see Maddie while she's babysitting. And while I feel like people would love to think that maybe this was a genuine act of like them trying to get back together, I think this is Nate's way of trying to get those tapes back, because either we're missing a couple scenes where Nate and Cal are like, all right, we need to get these tapes, or Nate is just genuinely out there getting the tapes under wraps so he can have full control. But either way, he is not there for Maddie. He is not there for Maddie, and I can tell you that for a fact. I just am really concerned for Maddie because again, she is not home and she's by herself, or not by herself, she has that kid there, but still, like it's not looking great here. I'm really interested now because it's making more sense with like the whole babysitting backstory that I was talking about before. Like all that context that we got in like episode 2, I think, is making so much more sense of why that was included. But yeah, I'm really excited to see where like this next episode goes. I really hope for episode 4 we get some more clarity on like the whole Maddie, Cassie, and Nate triangle, as well as getting some well-needed Lexi and Bez alone time, because I feel like we have not gotten that. Like we need some more. We need some more. The gas station scene was just a little tease. Like we need like a full scene between the 2 of them just interacting by themselves. So I'm hoping that comes in episode 4. But yeah, also a quick thing before I wrap up this breakdown, like I feel so bad for Kat. I'm sorry, Kat. Like Kat, you had an awful dinner. I am so sorry. That seemed so awkward. Okay, but after that, that's going to be all for this episode's breakdown, y'all. What are your thoughts? What did you think of this episode, and what do you think is going to happen next? Let me know down in the comments below. Again, if you are new to the channel, definitely subscribe because I do these breakdowns every single week, and make sure to turn on my post notifications so that you never miss when I post. Again, make sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it because it helps me and this video out so much, and to follow me on social medias, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of that at imuRgency. But other than that, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I've been imuRgency, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Hey guys, what's up? It's Emergency and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about a show that y'all have been requesting for a very long time, and I actually didn't realize I was that late to the game until I actually started the series and was like, wait, this seems kind of old. And that show, my friends, is Cobra Kai. And honestly, there is a lot to talk about because I binged seasons 1 through 4 over the course of like 3 days, so everything is fresh in my mind and I have a lot of opinions. So let's get into it. But before we start learning about Cobra Kai, let's learn a little bit more about this video sponsor, Bartleby Learn. Bartleby Learn is an online web service to help you get your homework done fast and, most importantly, get it done right. Bartleby Learn provides a searchable database for over 5 million step-by-step textbook and homework solutions. Basically, this means that you're going to have 24/7 access to homework solutions wherever you are at your fingertips. They have live subject matter experts with PhDs and master degrees on standby also for 24/7 whenever you're stuck. And most questions are answered in as fast as 30 minutes. The magic of Bartleby Learn is that not only does it provide you with the correct, expertly written answers for your homework questions, but more importantly, it provides you an opportunity to learn so that you can then solve those questions on your own in the future. Bartleby Learn has been really great for me because it's allowed me to hone in on my more textbook heavy classes to make sure that I'm reviewing the right material and that I'm getting my answers correct every single time. And I only have a semester left in college, so I want to make sure that I'm hooking y'all up with the best deal while y'all are still in school. So you can click the link in my description to get a free trial of Bartleby Learn to try it out for yourself. Thanks again, Bartleby Learn, for sponsoring this video. Remember to click the link in my description to try out Bartleby Learn for free today. Cobra Kai is one of those shows that is so bad that it's good. Like, in my opinion, I know that this show is like pretty critically acclaimed, but in my opinion, I really just get annoyed by this show, but somehow was able to keep watching. No, let me rephrase that. I wasn't able to stop watching until I finished. And let me explain what I mean. Cobra Kai, if you're unfamiliar, is a show that takes place about like 30 years after the events of the Karate Kid. Like, yeah, not like the Jaden Smith Karate Kid, but like the other one, like the older one, where it follows the two main characters, Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso, as they're actually like middle-aged adults and have their own, well, LaRusso has his own career. Johnny Lawrence, he's kind of getting by. But it basically shows them through like a series of circumstances coming back to karate, opening up their own dojos and fighting with each other, being grown-ass men. Yeah, I don't know either. It's just a lot, but somehow it's really entertaining, and I think where the entertainment factor comes from is from the kids in the show. Those main characters being Miguel, Sam, and Robbie. I want to applaud the writers for making the single-handedly most messy cast of characters through just like connections and relations, because any way that I try to explain this, it's just going to sound messy. Like, if you have not seen the show before, you're going to understand instantly why this is messy. Let me break it down really quick. So as you know, Johnny Lawrence, Daniel LaRusso, mortal enemies, hate each other. Johnny has a son, and Johnny's son doesn't like him because he's a deadbeat and wasn't in his life. So he goes to train with LaRusso. And while he's training with LaRusso, Johnny finds his own pupil, Miguel. And Miguel and him have this really tight father-son bond to the point where like Robbie gets a little jealous. And the factor that makes everything even more messy is that LaRusso's daughter, Sam, is dating Miguel, but then also is training with Robbie and then starts liking Robbie. So the three of them are in this consistent love triangle. And honestly, by season 3, it becomes like a love square because Tori comes into the picture and really shakes stuff up. But more of the story, like these main 4 characters are some of the messiest and most annoying characters in a show because they cannot sit down and have a conversation, nor can they resolve any issue without fighting each other and constantly instigating each other and causing this circle of aggression that's so annoying. Like, please, I get you're in high school, but grow up. And I can't even say it's the kids because the adults in the show are the exact same way. Like, why are Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso fully in their late 30s, maybe 40s even, beating on each other, using their ancient karate moves in public around children? Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, Johnny Lawrence opened this series by beating up on teenagers. Like, that's how we started. So I just don't understand how grown-ass men could be so childish. And it's at this point in the video where I'm realizing this is going to be more of a rant than a review commentary thing, so sit tight. I'll get into the good things in a bit. I just need to get this off my chest. LaRusso. Can we try to not use Mr. Miyagi in every single conversation? Like, literally don't talk about Mr. Miyagi challenge, like, please. Because like in the show, he talks about his mentor, Mr. Miyagi, literally every time he speaks. If not every time, then every other time he speaks. And he eventually gets called out for this in season 4 by his own son, and he gets so deeply hurt. But really, that kid was saying what we were all thinking. Like, he was saying what we were all thinking, like, please retire it. We get it. He was so crucial to your upbringing, but please, you are 40. You are 40. Find your own way. Find your own way. You know, he's like one of those old men that won't stop talking about his past. Again, that's a theme for every single adult in this show. Like, they can't grow up or get past their past. Like, why is one thing that happened in high school when you were 17, not even that, like 16, affecting you so much when you are in your 40s? What were you doing in those 30 years? What were you doing in those 30 years where you are still caught up by stuff that happened in high school? I can't even remember half the things that happened in high school. Like, I really just don't get it. Like, this is the epitome of like peaking in high school. Like, they peaked in high school and did nothing else with their lives, respectfully. Like, LaRusso made a business, got married, traveled a little bit, and then had kids, but is still caught up with all of this karate drama. Johnny Lawrence is a different story because like literally his high school was like the last good thing that ever happened to him, respectfully. But like, still, y'all are 40. But now let's talk about the kids. Out of all of them, I would say that I definitely like Robbie the most. Like, Robbie has a soft spot in my heart just because he seems like he has the most sense out of all of them. Like, he has his moments. He does have his moments. It usually comes down to Miguel. Whenever it comes down to Miguel, like, that is his vice, where he just loses all sense that he's built up everywhere else. But other than that, he's a man with a plan. He's a man with a plan. Like, he sees stuff. He understands what's going on. And he actually takes accountability for his actions. Like, at the end of season 4, where he apologizes to his dad for being a horrible son and basically using everything as a plot to like take his father down, like, he's cognizant of that. Like, he did all that strategically and then he actually apologized for it. Like, that is someone who I can vouch for. The rest of them though, like, for example, Miguel is cool, but like, Miguel does too much. Miguel does a little bit too much for me. Like, imagine like the temperament of Robbie, but like all the time when it comes to anything Cobra Kai. Like, chill out, chill out. You don't need to strike first. You don't need to do all that. Like, chill out. And that's made even worse with the character Sam. Like, I really hate Sam, especially in season 3 and 4. Sam is so annoying just because of her rivalry with Tori. Like, why are y'all beefing so much over boys? Over a couple. I just don't get it, because their entire character revolves around their jealousy for each other because of these two men. I don't get it. I don't get it. And they just have like such a stupid rivalry where like they could make up. Like, honestly, the beef that they have could have been resolved. Like, most of it, if not all of it, is Sam's fault for like provoking and continuously like egging Tori on. Like, of course, Tori had her moments. Like the whole fight scene where Tori's like traumatizing Sam, or like when she breaks into Sam's house, like that's on Tori. But like the whole conflict to start with was because of Sam, because Sam did not act. And then in season 4, when Tori's really just minding her own business, Sam is constantly provoking her. And even when Tori's trying to like be the bigger person, Sam is still there, like bullying and being a counterboy. Like, this is on you. This is really, truly on you. And last piece of rant before I get into like the good things that I actually like about this show, the geriatrics. The geriatrics. You thought the 40-year-olds were old. Just you wait, because there are 70-year-olds in this show still doing kung fu and beating up on the 40-year-olds. Like, please, why are there grandpas, geriatric grandpas in this show? And why do they care so much about the lives of high schoolers? Like, that is weird. That is strange to me. Like, please, like, grow up, or like retire, go into a home or something. Like, please, like, why are you here and why are you so present in the story? Like, I do not get it. I really just don't, like, why are you as like a 70-year-old man beefing with a high schooler, fighting in a high schooler, you know? Like, what's the reason? I don't know. But let's get into the positives, because I feel like y'all are gonna start to think that I don't like this show. One thing I really liked about this show is like its humor. Like, it is completely out of pocket. Like, the humor is out of pocket. Like, I do not know who the target demographic is, because some of the humor is like actually kind of like sus. Like, like, why would you say that, you know?
Come on, guys, can't we all just get along?
She had it coming. And some of the other times it's just like random, like out of pocket things that no one would expect. Like, specifically from Dimitri, from Hawk, from Kyler. Like, those main three are the ones that just be saying stuff. And I really can't take it, because
I orchestrated this entire plan. You didn't bring the one thing you were in charge of.
I forgot, okay? I've got a lot on my mind right now. If I don't pass trig this semester, my dad's gonna shit in my mouth.
Do you need to talk to somebody about that? So in terms of like humor, they're there. They're there most of the time. And while I ranted about most of the adults, the one adult that I really do love in the show, the one that I stand by and will stick by till the end of time, is Amanda, LaRusso's wife. Like, she consistently had the best lines. Like, she was the one with the most common sense, like one that really felt like an adult, you know? I just loved her. And I think that the writers kind of realized that they wrote her a little bit too well and that she had too much sense, because in season 4 they completely took all that stuff away when she started beefing with the high schooler again. Like, I get it. The high schooler broke into your house and like had a whole fight club in your house. Actually, no, that is kind of reasonable for why you'd go crazy after that. But still, she was doing a little bit too much. But I really, really, really do love Amanda. Another scene that I really liked that was super emotional for me was in season 4, when it was a scene between Miguel and Johnny Lawrence. Once Johnny Lawrence gets like really, really drunk and they have like this moment where like Johnny Lawrence is like, I want to be your father. And Miguel goes, I love you. And then I'm getting like sad just thinking about it because that would crush me internally. Johnny goes, I love you too, Robbie. And I'm just like, he's still thinking about his son. This just shows that while Johnny may care about Miguel, Miguel is ultimately just a placeholder or replacement for what he couldn't have with Robbie. And that just hurts because Miguel doesn't deserve that. Miguel really doesn't deserve that. He deserves like a true caring father figure, and that was just traumatizing. And I guess another thing that's kind of like a given is like the stunts. Like, a lot of the karate looks really good. Like, I get hyped whenever they have like the huge like team fight scenes where each dojo is fighting each other. Like, wow, simply wow. But I feel like that's as far as like the positives go, because in terms of just like plot in general, I feel like the plot of this show is like really repetitive in the sense that the same thing happens every single season. What do you mean by that, Rumi? Well, you start off every season with Johnny Lawrence and LaRusso in a fight. Then they try to be friends. Then they fight again. Then someone from their past appears. And then they come together to take down the person of their past. And then they fight again. And then it's just like a cycle. It's literally a cycle every single season from season 2 to season 4. That's exactly how it goes. And the way that they set up season 5, it seems like that's how season 5 is going to be too. Because right now they're on good terms, like okay terms. But it seems like with the person that they're hinting at coming back from the past, maybe not, maybe not. And that just speaks to any of the teams. Like, no one is innocent in this show, which is something that I can appreciate, because there's not like one team that you should be rooting for, because they're all shitty. LaRusso's Miyagi-Do is like too stubborn to like actually change, and then like Eagle Fang, for one, is a stupid name, and 2, really doesn't have like great people per se. Like, they're all reformed, like Hawk and stuff is like reformed or whatever, but like Eagle Fang doesn't really have like the repertoire and is led by Johnny Lawrence, who is like a douchebag. And then Cobra Kai is just filled with nasty, toxic bullies, like awful people. So like, really there is no winning. It's just really you're picking whoever you want to support. And honestly, at this point, I'm kind of divided, because I just want Robbie to win at this point. I don't really care for Sam. I can kind of stand Tori sometimes. And Miguel's also sometimes. It's just really Sam. But yeah, I don't know. Those are all my thoughts that I have right now for this series. Like, I really do think that season 5 is going to be good. Like, I'm going to watch it regardless, just because I'm addicted at this point. I have to give this show like a solid 7 out of 10. Like I said, I have a lot of rants for it, but I did really enjoy watching this show. I feel like a 7's a pretty accurate rating. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm sure I left out a bunch of stuff because I did try to condense 4 seasons into a 10-minute video. So let me know what your favorite parts were, all of your thoughts down in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, then definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on my post notifications so that you never miss when I post. Also, leave a like on this video, because that helps me out so much with the algorithm and all of that. And while you're at it, follow me on my socials here at imuRgency to keep up with me on Instagram, TikTok, and all of that. Thanks again, Barnaby Land, for sponsoring this video. Make sure to click the link in my description below to try out Barnaby Right for free. But other than that, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I've been imuRgency, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.